as well start recording now. Let's see. Content. Lester, Tail, Michael, channel content. Assignment 3 and 4 postmortems are up. I kind of combined them too. And then also assignment 5 postmortem will be up as well. Essentially, they're just due at the end of the semester, so if you can post something there, show people what you worked on, that'd be great. Aside from that, quizzes, all the quizzes are available. And of course, assignment 4, well, that's due today at 11:59. And finally, the last assignment, which is due, I believe, next week, the 8th. Very simple. Essentially, you just take anything you've made up until this point, one of the assignments, and put it into a game engine. So Unreal Engine or Unity, just so I can see that you can actually take an animation and put it into that game engine. Should be very simple. Or if you want to make something new or completely brand new, that'd be great. Or if you already have an animated part of your final project, you could also start to work with that and maybe include that here. But just don't say that your final project is assignment 5. That's not. The final project, we have update 1 that is available today. So by 11:59, and I'll also have another final project update 2, which will be due next week. So just tell me what's happening, any kind of work. If there's any kind of difficulties or issues going on, this is a place to let me know. If you have an issue with a specific model or topology issue or anything to do, just upload that as well. Aside from that, I know a lot of times I've been kind of working on mainly fantasy stuff, but today I thought I'd give it a little bit of try of going to sci-fi as well and try to create an animated broken door and import that into Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine 5 is on here. I have the first person project. I downloaded that. And yeah. Do you have a question? Oh, switching. Okay. But yeah, aside from that, course materials, if you need to download something like the mannequin, that is available in the course materials. Also, just a few minutes, literally just about 6 minutes before class, I doodled a quick sketch to kind of give me a concept of what I want to try to achieve here on my iPad. And sometimes, doing sketches like that, it kind of helps keep your idea grounded, or you see your final goal of what you want to achieve, and that'll help you. You might not be able to do like a one-to-one recreation of a concept or reference, but at the same time, it's good to, have that. References are key. Also, I forgot to say, but apparently May 5th through May 7th, there are different times to be able to learn a different language. So if anyone's interested in learning another language, that is available apparently at H102. So they said you can scan a QR code and book your language and time. So you try a different language in 10 to 15 minutes. So that could be kind of cool if anyone wants to do that. But that flyer was here, so if anything like that interests you for next week, that could be kind of cool to do. I know how enriching it feels to be able to learn another language. I've learned or studied a lot of languages: Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, some Hebrew, a little bit of Russian too. But it's always fun to explore other cultures, and also even as artists, that even does help you to see, okay, I'm not just in my own American mindset and cultural mindset, but you start to learn other cultures, and maybe you can start to incorporate that into your work, which is awesome. Cool. So yeah, I'll try to get this concept going and try to animate this scene here, animate this door to put into Unreal Engine as kind of like the goal. Also was kind of inspired a little bit by Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West, whichever one you want to go off of, and try to do that like a broken sci-fi door that is animated. Essentially, you just take the same kind of animated concepts and ideas. and then you can use this for your final project as well, or for assignment 5. So, without further ado, let's do this. Moving this back a bit, I will probably have to add my shortcut keys again, because FCC being FCC, it reverted my desktop space. So that's fun. I will delete these, and I'll Shift A, add a mesh and a cube. I will also find a mirror and just right click and add to quick favorites, so I have that. So when kind of falling off of a reference, let me go here. I will probably hide this mannequin and also move this cube to another collection to call it working. So working, create, and just scale this guy up. Did I add the cube? There we go. So let me delete all this. There we go. Just want to make sure it's actually mirroring. Also include clipping, just so I have that. Move this up a bit. Shrink this. So when kind of modeling something like this, a sci-fi door, it's probably a good idea to work symmetrical first, and then you can kind of break away and add all the animations and things you need to add for it. So I'll do something like this. Control R to add a loop cut. Very, very simple geometry. Extrude down. If you need to see it, you can always do Alt-Z to kind of see through. Move this down. Another loop cut. And probably Alt-E to extrude if I want to. This is where I might try to deviate a little bit from the concept and look at some other ideas for a door. For something like a door panel, or where it's going to be extruding from the interior of the door. So this is like I guess, sci-fi apocalyptic in a way. Let me put another another loop cut through there. And yeah, I might make this so it's a bit of kind of asymmetrical going on here. And let's see here. I would probably just go ahead and bevel this. Actually, I might bevel these two here. Maybe one more. Cool. So we have those beveled here. And I'm going to go ahead and work with this. Delete those faces here. I'll move this down. Click on this guy and Alt-E to extrude along normals. So, just kind of very basic, simple procedures here. From here, I'm going to go and add our door. Very simple stuff. I'm going to tab into object mode, Shift A, add a simple cube here. Just move it up a bit, click on the top part, and move that up. So it's kind of overlapping everything, which is kind of what we want. Cool. Alt-Z, just to see what it looks like. Well, looking like a door. I'm going to move this back to working, and I'll start to name this so we know what we're talking about. Let's just see, door arch underscore alt1, just in case we have to make multiple arches or something like that. And so door underscore arch underscore door underscore alt1. Sometimes you do have to do a lot of underscores, but having a good naming convention is really good. And of course, we're going to be splitting this to 1 and 2, especially since we're going to be cutting through that. Aside from that, we can see about Alt-Z, and seeing here, let's see, we kind of have a diagonal cut here, and it goes down here, it goes here, it goes here, and goes there. So simple. I'm going to take the knife tool, okay, and I'm going to press C. If you don't press anything on the keyboard, you can look down here and you'll see that it has all these different options. So you can right-click to stop, C to cut through, ignore, all these different angles. Angle constraint, that could be good. So we'll go ahead. We can press A to cycle through that if we want to, but I think I'll be fine with just cutting down here. But just make sure cut through is on. Go down here. One down. Gonna go this way, and this way. Press enter, and we have cut the door. Unfortunately, that's not going to be, everything we need to do. But if we just press P, separate selection, that's pretty much it. At least the very basics. When you're trying to block out a scene, this could be like your basic block out that you're kind of working with. So I'll be looking over here. I'll probably also scale this up a smidge, and maybe Alt-S a little bit. And when I have the shrink and fatten down here, I'm going to make sure it's offset even, because we want to be even. Unless you want to be very distorted for a reason, that option is available as always. So from here, I'm going to find this guy, press this, and J. This, and J. And I can see this guy could be a triangle. I'll just go ahead and put that there. This can also be a triangle. This could be a triangle here. This could be a triangle here. And looking pretty good. Cool. So from here, I think I'll probably just hide my reference, or at least put that off to the side for the time being. I'll just name this like a reference. And, well, maybe duplicate that and just put off to the side so I always have that. And hide my base reference. From here, I think I'll go ahead and I'll select these two and go into edit mode, and Alt-Z, let's see, press Y on the keyboard, or Y up here, and then I'll select my vertex selection and probably move this up a smidge. And SZ0, just so it kind of keeps it nice and neat for now. Yep. I'm going to select these two, SX0. Even though it's not entirely accurate to the concept, I still want to make sure that this is this feels almost like it's manufactured. So there's order to it right now, before we add kind of like the chaoticness of an apocalyptic feel to it. For the time being, I think I'll add my cursor to the selection here. Shift S, cursor to selected. Oh, that's over to the center. Selection to cursor, that's... Okay, let's just maybe do it right here in the middle. Shift S, cursor to selected. And then move the geometry to that. So origin to cursor. That way it's just kind of right there in the center. And so if I press on this guy now, I can just GX, and it kind of moves nicely that way. Though the pivot point is kind of off. Eventually I might put the pivot point maybe down at the corner here. But I don't know. For time being, I think for at least editing this, it might be good as it is. In object mode, I'm going to go Shift S and go back to have my cursor go back to world origin. Alt H, to unhide everything. I'm good with that. And yeah, let's continue to work on this. So unhide that. Click on this guy and this guy. I think I'll probably go ahead and make the what's that? Kind of like inset those faces here. Let's see, Shift H to hide everything else, and just kind of keep this as it is. I'm thinking it might be a little bit easier to work with a single face for this. So I'm going to Alt Z and delete these faces here in the front. Let's see here, make sure. And just work with the faces here. These are separated, but it should be okay because I selected them and I'm just going to essentially work on both of them at the same time. So let's see. I'm going to cut, or I could add just quads here. So one, I see one here, 2. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to add 3 loop cuts here. And add 3 loop cuts over here as well. Press this one, and J to join. This and this, J to join, this and this, J to join. And similarly, I will add this guy, join, click on this, and join, this, and join. And trying to, try to be normal here as Z0. I will go ahead and see about adding that window or kind of the see-throughness of here. Let's see, something like that. So for something like that, I might just go ahead and make up another model and just Boolean that into it. So Shift. So I am in object mode again. I'm going to Shift A, add a simple cube. CG, move this over here. S to scale up. I'm going to just go ahead and bevel this once. And maybe bevel this as well. And maybe bring this down a bit. And then join these two together in a way. Extrude here. Click on this to bevel this guy. And to bevel that. Then I'll Shift D, duplicate this over here. R, X, 180, RZ, 90. Probably need to do 180. RZ 180. Move this down. And move it like that. So something like that, I think. And so from here, pretty simple to do. You click on your guy. If you have Bool tools installed, you can click on the one you want to work with. Click on this and Control-Shift-B and difference. Now it acts like a brush. Click on this guy and over here, Control-Shift-B and difference. And now we have the locations for our panels to be, or our glass panels. From here, we can Alt-Z. I will go ahead and unselect that and hide those. Probably just delete those. Oh, I can't do that because I need to apply it. Okay, so I'm going to apply this. Apply the modifier over here and apply modifier. Now I can actually delete these. Delete from file and clean up any kind of topology mess we have. I'm going to click on this icon here, auto merge vertices, and just merge some vertices here. Merge out there, merge you up, merge you down there, merge that up, down, and this is just basically the cleanup process. Move that up and move you down. Cool. So click on this guy. I see this could be a quad. I'm going to click on this and here. I'm going to add another loop cut here just to join those two together to make that a quad. Do the same thing here. Sometimes it's always easier to work with quads. You can work with triangles, but then sometimes it can be a bit messy. J. Add this guy and J. And then finally here, I could probably add a J here and a J there. Cool. So I believe that should, oh, nope, I need these guys. Move that a bit this way. J and J. Now, there we go. Same thing over here. We're going to have to clean up our topology mess, but it's kind of like reversed. So I will put that here. Oh, J, J, see you and you to J. That guy, J. Let's see, that's good. I can move this guy down here to J. And J. I think that should be it. Okay, cool. So now that we have all of that taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and just see what it looks like. Alt-H and see about this door. Okay. I'm probably going to have to, go back, Alt-S to shrink it a little bit. And then probably move Alt-Z, go into wireframe mode, and move this up a bit. Alt-H, I want to see if the person can still go through it. Yep, still good height. That is good. Awesome. So with that out of the way, I will move this up a little bit. And finally, press A to select everything and extrude. It's fine. And just like these two again, and just put a simple loop cut in the middle, and that's fine. So with a loop cut in the middle of these two, I'll just go ahead and separate them, since I don't need them. P, separate selection. And let's see here. That's our loop. That's a loop. I'll just name this to like a glass. Maybe like glass R. This one be glass L. Not like that, but glass L. So we have that, and it's a bit noisy. But just pretend like you're in a fast-paced environment, right? But in the meantime, we have a glass L and glass R, and we have this and that. With these selected, press Shift H to hide everything else. So I just have all this, and I'm just going to make a single plane. So pretty simple. F and F. And with this, I think I might just do something simple, like just triangulate it. With this modifier, I will add a triangulate modifier to it. And where it says quad method, I will change it to beauty. And just apply it. Yep, look pretty good. I will do it for the other one as well. Let's do triangulate and beauty, and finally apply. Let's see what they both look like. Looks pretty fine. Okay, cool. I will select them all. I'm going to select and finally select boundary loop. But this way, I'm going to click right click and add to my quick favorites again because it's all gone. So I'll select that, select boundary loop, and I need to mark seams. So I'll go up to edge, right click, add to quick favorites, and mark seams. And those should be UVs for that. Apply location, apply rotation scale. There we go. Alt H. And look at your doors here. Shift H to hide everything else. Looking at other doors here, I might try to add some other information here with it. I'll just select this guy. Possibly select this as well. Like that. Select that and that. I will go ahead and apply rotation to scale for both of them. And now I will bevel. No, not really. A little bit. Give that kind of like a sci-fi look to it. Cool. I don't need this loop inside anymore. Oh, I think I accidentally. I'll just clean that up. I'll just dissolve this loop here, dissolve that, and I will dissolve these loops here. This, I'll just go ahead and dissolve those. I don't need that. Select everything. Yep, looking good. Let's see if there's anything else I should probably add for accents or anything that probably should be added. Let's see. Alt H to hide that. Looking pretty good. Let's just work on the arch then. From here, let's go and add or apply our mirror modifier. I'm going to look inside here, make sure there's no weird, well, I'll probably go back and look, unhide that to make sure there's no weird faces in here before I apply it. Looks pretty good. I will apply that, and I will go ahead and, yeah, that's all messed up. So I'm going to go, I guess, select the faces here. So that's fun. Right here, S, Y, 0. Flatten that out. That's good. And similarly, I will click on these. S, Y, and 0. Oh, no, not that way. I guess it really does want to be at 0. So S, Y, and 0. Wow. Oh, it's still selecting the other side. That's why. Okay. That's fine. Let's select you all. Now SY 0. There we go. Looking at this, I'm seeing that I could probably get rid of this loop here. Probably not even needed. So I'm just going to dissolve that. Let's go to modeling, Alt Z, look up forward here, and then I'll probably look through here. Try to dissolve all of this quickly. I'll just get rid of that for the time being. Say dissolve edges. No, I don't think I need to do that. Just that edge. Dissolve edges here. J. J. I can dissolve that edge. Just want to make sure what I'm doing is right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's also something to, note and be aware of is you start seeing different patterns and different ways you can kind of optimize a model, and that just comes with, I guess, experience. Dissolve edges here. Don't need that. Dissolve that edge, and move it over to here. This is one way of doing it. And of course, screencast keys is always off. There we go. Turn it back on again. Click on this, and J. Awesome. And similarly, we can probably do it on the other side as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and be lazy and mirror modify it again. Delete that. X, delete faces. And let's just Q, mirror, done. I'm trying to see why that hides itself. Okay, from here I'll go ahead, Control A, apply rotation and scale. I see a lot of this is beveled, so I'll probably just go ahead and bevel this as well. We can always update the topology here. Let's see. That seems fine here. Let's go ahead and maybe apply S. And move it down a smidge. I can probably also move this down a smidge as well. SX or SZ0, flatten that out. And finally, I will just go ahead and extrude that part. But that is kind of messy looking. Offset even. I might change that a bit. Maybe dissolve it to something like that. Go ahead and click this guy, Alt-Z, move this out a smidge. Or I could bring this up a little bit. Yeah, it might be easier to bring this up than to try to up the, or change the scale of this non-uniformly. Move this up. I don't really like the softness of that. Well, I guess that's fine because this is eventually just going to be broken anyway. So with that, I can probably just go ahead and add that to it. See if there's anything else I should change or do here. I don't think so. I'll just inset this a little bit more. Or maybe probably Shift S, selection to, or cursor to selected. Or I should probably go in edit mode. Shift S, cursor to selected. Scale it up. 1.05. And probably the same thing over here. Shift S, cursor to selected, 1.05, 0.05, just so it's slightly overlapping and we don't get any kind of weird shading artifacts or glitches there. So aside from that, let's see, we can probably just go ahead and join this to this guy. So Control J, this is this, Control J, and that's looking pretty good. I will probably, well, I'll just go ahead and make this, unwrap this guy here. So it should be pretty simple. Mark that. I'll do both these at the same time. Like that. Mark those seams. Mark that seam. Select the bottom there, mark those seams. I might actually just delete that since I probably won't need it, but I'll see. Shift H to hide everything else. Let's go ahead, select everything. Select boundary loop and mark those seams. Mark the seam up here, mark those. Clear those. I don't need that. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, and mark that seam. Now going to UV editing, 3A, U, unwrap, see what we have here. And what we have is a mess. So, looking at this, I will select U and see where the issues are. Looks like around here. Okay, this was never properly unwrapped. That's fine. Mark those seams. Mark that seam. Mark U. Unwrap. Okay, better. Alt H. Shift H to hide this. Let's select these. Mark that. Probably select that as well. And probably that as well. 3AU. Awesome. So we have ourselves, something here. That's good. Let's go Alt H. At least these are unwrapped now. They're joined together. That is good. Shift S, cursor to world origin. And finally, I'll just put those two back at the world origin as well. Shift S. Where's the period? So origin to 3D cursor. Or I can just do, Control A, apply location, rotation, and scale. And I can do the same thing for this guy. Cool. With that being said, let's see if there's anything else I should probably add. I will just go ahead, apply this modifier here for this, and start working on, some other interesting features here we can add. Panel here, extrude that, SZ to scale. If we want to, this guy, let's I to inset, Alt E to extrude. And finally, maybe you can also do something like that here. And something like that here as well, Alt E, or inset the faces, Alt E now, but this time I'll just do it inside. Cool. So that is working now, looking pretty good. Maybe we should also have a door panel kind of thing on the other side as well. Let's see. Move it down a smidge. E to extrude, S, Z. So something like that. Awesome. So with that, we can, add this. We can start to animate where the tree might be. And looking at our references here, it's coming out this way. So, working with a tree or working with some sort of like a vine could be simple, just using curves. So I'll get out of edit mode and go to object mode and go to my curve tool. I'll use a Bezier curve, add that in here, and I will just go ahead and add the some geometry to it. Bevel it a little bit. To see what it looks like. Cool. RZ, move that inward. And I'll press E to extrude to go down here. I can subdivide this, so right click subdivide so it's 2. Oh, I need to do that by selecting 2, so right click subdivide. Awesome. Move that downward like that. Cool thing about plants is that they're, it's not man-made, so everything, you can kind of have wiggle room for a little bit of creative liberty. So Alt-S to scale some of it up. Move this up. Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Play with the handle here a little bit. Move that up. Smidge like that. So it's probably going to be thicker up here, so I'll just Alt-S to scale it. Move that up a bit, Alt-S to scale. And probably do the same thing for these guys. Alt-S, Alt-S. Shrink that down just a smidge. Probably move it up a bit. Change it around and let's see the original concept here. Okay, so it actually is pretty huge going over this way. So I'll move that over. Rotate that a little bit. Probably add another subdivision here. And just go ahead and Alt-S again. Alt-S. Alt-S. Move it something like that. And we can probably move this off to the side a little bit. Looking at everything else here. Okay. Rotate that a smidge. Maybe add a little curve there. Changing the resolution a little bit. Shade flat so I see what it looks like. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll just go ahead and convert that to a mesh. Right click, convert to and mesh. And I'll just fix up some of these issues here. Dissolve that. Dissolve that. Dissolve that. And dissolve that. Probably don't need all of that here. I'm going to select everything here. So I do that. Just kind of checker, kind of like a checker deselect here, in a way. Just select parts I don't really need here in the model. But I do want that bend here, so I'll probably leave that in. Shift H to hide everything else. Just kind of work with this guy. Dissolve that, dissolve that, dissolve all that. I might go to sculpting mode and try to smooth some of that out. Have to go to the settings for smooth. I don't want that strong. I like kind of goes super strong, smooth. So I'll move this down a little bit. It's kind of like a way to relax the topology here. I guess this part I could use my tablet here. And I can unhide some of this, just for reference. Probably go to find the inflate. Let's see, inflate cloth, just inflate, deflate, there we go. Maybe not like that. So could be something like that. Cool. Awesome. Go back to my layout. And I'll see all this here. I don't really need that. I'll just delete those. Oh, I guess the faces then, okay. Delete faces. I'll dissolve that. And really sometimes it's just a preference of what you want to dissolve and what you don't want to. Maybe you'd need to dissolve because it's basically you have issues with performance, and that's something that you have to do. Always a good idea to try to optimize topology when possible. And if I shade smooth it, see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Might move this inward a smidge so it's not pinching. Awesome. And from here, I'll just go ahead and add a cut through here and Q mark seam. And of course, I haven't forgotten about the end here. Dissolve the edges here, and I'll just make a triangle fan. F, I, M, and collapse. Move that out. Period. So I'm focusing on that. Cool. Awesome. It almost looks like Jabba the Hutt's tail or something. So Q, mark the seam here, and yeah, this is the. Let's rename this to like the tree, or tree root, I should say. Let's see, sculpting mode. So looks pretty good so far. I might bend this a smidge. Like so. Okay, cool. Is that, yep, I need to add a line here, mark seams. 3A, select everything, and just go ahead and unwrap. Minimal stretch. Something like this, well, I'll see. I'm going to select that, Q, mark seam, 3A, unwrap again. Unwrap, minimal stretch. Maybe, I'll see. I might go ahead and leave that as is before. But in the meantime, we'll kind of work with what we have. I need to unwrap this guy here. Pretty simple. Might be easier just to select the outside here. Q, mark seams. Click on that guy. Click on you, and you. Maybe you as well. Mark that seam. Just go ahead, just mark everything up there. I will just go ahead and mark these. Mark those seams. Like that. Mark that, and mark. Let's see what it looks like in unwrap mode. Okay, that's for that. That's for that. I will say I think I prefer Maya's unwrapping because a little bit better than Blender, because you do get a little bit of stretch in here and distortion. But for the meantime, I suppose it's fine. Just mark that seam. Cool. So with that, let's start to see what we can do with this. I'll go ahead and make up a material for this. If it doesn't crash. It's a simple material. I just click the plus icon and now I think it wants to crash, but we'll see. If we just stay calm and let it think, maybe it won't crash. It did not crash. That's good. For here, let's just name this like a MAT underscore door. And for you, I'll just add the MAT underscore door as well. So they're sharing the same material. I should probably go ahead and unwrap that. Oh. A little bit. Did they ever fix that or? Yeah. That's why I had the door open.
Yeah. If you want a fan, I can get you a fan to help circulate.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could be good.
Okay.
If they like it. So we have our glass doors here, L, L. To select those. Everything else seems to be fine. This is the inside. I think I need to put a cut through here and a cut through there, at least once. Oh, I don't have that, so I have to add it here. 3A, unwrap. There we go. Looking a lot better now. But we'd like to keep this so it's a bit more organized and, by itself. And this is where packing UVs is a good thing to have, or a good skill. Because just because Blender thinks that this is the optimized packed way, it might not be the most optimized pack. So I'll move these around and get this over here. Select this, L, move it over here maybe. Since these are just going to be glass essentially, I'll just go ahead and shrink it a little bit. And this I can probably move a little bit closer over here. And click on this. And like that, cool. Looking at this, I might be able to just put it down here, like so. Hey, thanks. So we have the UVs for that, and possibly look at this for the UVs as well. This I'll add just a map, a new material to it. MAT underscore, let's call this like door arch 01. And here we can just name it another tree. So MAT underscore tree underscore root. So not Groot, but tree root. And just out of curiosity, I want to see what it looks like if I add a Shift A, add a mesh, add a plane, and just kind of like for a reference here. So it looks pretty good and kind of matches my original reference. So awesome. From here we can, I guess I could also even add something like a wall here, just so we have an idea of what it could look like. But I will be taking it to Unreal Engine, of course. But just so we have, some sort of base reference here. And move it down a bit. Cool. So, it kind of gives us an idea of what it could potentially look like in game or in the engine. I'll just name this to be like a wall reference. And probably just drag and drop that into our reference, though it's the only one actually visible. Cool. So with that, I think I'll probably start to do like working underscore LP for low poly, and Shift D for duplicate the collection, HP. Because we're still, even though we're going to go ahead and animate this a bit, we still need to have kind of like the default materials and location for it before we just kind of animate everything, and then the baking process probably wouldn't be the best. You'll have some issues. So I'll just go ahead, add some loop cuts here. Since this is a tree, let's go ahead and add some bark to it. Dynamesh. Whenever you Dynamesh something, it doesn't like it if there's nothing here, or if there's like a big hole. So you'll probably have to go ahead and add a hole, or fill up the hole if you need to. So 0.0, well, let's just use 0.1 and remesh it. Okay, it looks pretty good from there. It is 1:30, so if y'all want to take like a 10-minute break, step out into the cool air, you can do that. Come back here at 1:40. I'm just going to continue to sculpt some high poly details, and we'll go through the baking process and start to animate in a bit. But till then, let's continue to add some details on this tree. Where's my crease sharp? Might be easier to just hide everything else, except for that. There we go. Now, of course, if you have a lot of time, it'd be a good idea to try to do everything you can to make it nice and work, devote a few more hours to it besides just a simple, maybe like 10, 15-minute sketch or sculpt. Yep. So if you want to, like a tree here, anytime it has curvature, you're not going to remove all the poly just to then it would be like a single block. You can even curve. But you kind of use it as necessary. Did that help a little bit? Yeah. Good stuff. Okay. Anything else? Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, if you need to, go for it. And of course, continue to, work with this sculpt here. And in all your sculpts, you always have to try to identify about, what kind of story are you trying to tell, if you're able to tell a story in your sculpts. Maybe this vine or this large root tree is from something just, the earth is all destroyed, but somehow this tree it just seems like it's able to go down deep inside the bunker or something. Or maybe it's up top, though I guess that really depends on the theme and what you're kind of working with here. But in the meantime, it's always kind of fun to try to identify specific themes like that. And even for sculpting like this, it's always good to kind of have references. Now let's see what we got for the others. Cool. I think it's looking pretty good. Especially for what we're working with. I want to see what it looks like on the low poly. I'll go ahead and click the random so I see if it truly is around the same height. Let's go to object mode. Select the root. There's the origin. Origin's kind of there in the center. Okay. Okay, looks good, I think. Looks like it matches it pretty much. Just go ahead and work on the other parts then. I'm going to hide my tree root. Just rename it to like a, let's see, a tree root HP. And just hide that guy. Press H. Awesome. So for this, I guess we could start to add some, like the high level of details here. So maybe like a cut here or something like that. Let's model out Shift A, cube right in the center, move it up. So, out, select everything, S, X, S, Y. And finally, Alt-E to extrude. Select that and scale. Cool. So from here, I will add my Boolean here. Click on this guy, Control Shift B and difference. And before I before I apply or delete anything here, I'm going to go to my Boolean and add a modifier, add solidify modifier. And now it's going to give me that, kind of like that traditional sci-fi poly pan, or, sci-fi panel look. And I can try to do that again with other things. Maybe I want to do more cylindrical. So mesh cylinder circle here. 90. That's Y. Shrink that up. No, maybe something like that. Let's go ahead, add, click on this guy, Control Shift B, difference, click on U, and click on the solidify. Cool. And we can change the thickness of our solidify modifier as needed. Let's see if I do control. I think that'll be fine. So I'll just go ahead and apply the booleans. And I can just go ahead and delete that. Cool. From here, I can probably do something. No, control B. I twice and set some faces here. Alt E. Something simple. And maybe do the same thing for over here. Control B to bevel that a smidge. Yeah. Control B. I. No, just something different. Make it a little bit interesting, kind of like a sci-fi look. I can go ahead and apply a different modifier, or I can do like a cavity here, so it really pops. But that is messy there. I might just go ahead and do something like this then. Just something different. Cool. This guy and this guy, I'll just go ahead and set those faces. Or I can just do something like a subdivide. Something like that, sure. I to inset those faces. Alt E. And set those faces again. And another Alt E. Now that way we have something like buttons on that. Cool. Probably do something here as well. Control B to bevel that. Just I. Alt E. Just so it gives it that, sci-fi look. Cool. Anything else I should probably do? I think that should be good. Maybe try this panel here, I. And E. Awesome. So we have that. I'm going to go back to my high poly here, see that, that's good. Cool. Let's go ahead and try to bake everything. And after that, we'll take it back to Blender, we'll put them all together, and then we can start to make our animation. So from here, let's go ahead, selection mode, Control A, apply rotation, location, rotation, scale, that's fine. Make sure everything has material to it. Yep. That's a door, that's a door. That's a door, yep. And tree, cool. Apply that, let's see, export, there we go. Download 178. Do that, selected objects, export. New 2048. For this, we'll just work with Unreal template. Select a file here, downloads, like that, and okay. Okay. Looks like the normals were inverted on that, so we're going to have to tab and select our face orientation, Alt-N, and recalculate outside. Let's check you as well. And you as well. Cool. Okay, let's do it again. Export. And we'll just re-import our mesh. I already have a wood bark there. I'll just go ahead and use that for the time being. Just see what it looks like. Play with some of the parameters here. Maybe change that a bit. Let's see. Long wood, that'd be good. Make it super rough because it's not really shiny right there. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to go and select my, or see if I have this here. Yep, I have a door and I have arch. I'll just go ahead and apply, basic paint layer. White is fine. And do the same thing for my arch over here. Cool. With that, I will probably just go back to my high poly here. Just recalculate the normals for this guy. Alt-N, recalculate outside, and just export that. Sci-Fi Run. And let's just name this HP. And finally, let's go ahead and apply, or go to texture set settings. Let's see, that's not enabled. I guess that's fine. Let's file. Yeah, let's just go ahead and bake the textures. There we go. Don't have an opacity here, but might be a smidge over there. There we go. Change the rear distance, anti-aliasing. Let's try 16 for now. And bake. Guess I do need alpha layer. Okay, cool. Turn to paint mode and see what we have. Okay, that is a bit messy right there. Layers. So some of this I might have to do it separately maybe. So let's go back to layout. Select that. And I guess I can move these two there. Let's move this maybe over here. Okay. Now let's see if we can try to do this. HP file. And then these. For a low poly. To new 204080 sci-fi rune. Discard. Okay, it's all here. That's good. Let's try to bake the textures then. Bake the mesh maps. Anti-aliasing 4x. Just want to see if it works. Okay, now let's change the frontal distance. So frontal distance there is good. I might have to separate the sci-fi with the tree root here. It might be too thick, but I'll try this. I'll just try baking it once and see what happens. Yeah. Let's go ahead and bake. Because the tree root looking pretty good right now. It's just the other stuff. Oh no, actually baked pretty nicely. Okay. Awesome. I will take a win when I can take a win. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the UV mode for my what's this called, tree root, and just go ahead and combine the two. Even though it's going to result in a lower textile density, it's still probably a better idea. Clear. I don't want to see that seam, so unwrap and probably rotate a little bit. Nope, don't hide it. Nice. Okay. Going to go ahead and do it again. Select my low polys, re-export. Selected, export. And here, just file, re-import mesh, and just need to redo the baking process. Do 64 for anti-aliasing. Change the map, the frontal distance a little bit. Pretty good. Ambient occlusion, I might change this a little bit as well. 28. Normal's good. Curvature, I don't have any opacity right now. Yep, bake. Yeah, because that's just something I need to do. Now return to painting mode. And we got our nice looking graphics here. Awesome. And no seam here. The looks like it was projected really nicely here. Awesome. For the tree root, I will just add a layer here. Add a layer here and change the base color to something like so. Let's add another layer here. Name it a little bit, maybe reddish. And right click, add on it, click a black mask. Go ahead and create a filter here. Let's see, ambient occlusion. Here we go. And change the balance a bit on it. Maybe change the contrast as well. Then probably change the opacity a bit. It's still really, really shiny. So I'm going to add another fill layer on top. And just name it to roughness. And make it so that it is, it doesn't have much shine to it. That this is kind of like the master thing that will control it all. And now let's add a simple edgeware on it. So edge. Let's name this to something like kind of like a yellow here. Right click, black mask, simple filter. Curvature. Nice. And yeah, it did pretty nicely. So I will probably change this to something like a overlay maybe, or color burn. Okay, actually color dodge, that looks pretty good. So I'll just name it to the color dodge and kind of leave it, like it is. And yeah, let's say that looks good. Let's work on the other guys. Have the arch here. Add a simple paint layer here. Let's add another layer here. Make this to be dark. And this will be like our ambient occlusion. Add a black mask. Right click. Add the paint. Add a generator. Ambient occlusion. And we probably need to invert that. Yep. Nice. And probably change this to maybe like a multiply. And decrease that. So it's just a smidge. Nice. And we can also just probably reuse this for others. Let's just add another roughness layer on top. Roughness. Deselect everything else except for roughness and change it so it's not so shiny. Select everything here. Control G to group. We'll name this to like sci-fi face. right click, create smart material, sci-fi base is here, and now I can apply to all my other work. The door here. Cool. Looks pretty good there. So from here, I'll probably just go ahead and add a glass. I think I need to go to shader, settings, PBR roughness, and change this to alpha. Alpha blending. If I change it to alpha blending, I can start to add my glass material if I need it. Let's search something on here. I think glass visor is okay. Add a black mask to that. And from here, I'll just select my group that I have. And just like that. Awesome. Fillet, color dodge. Let's see what we have here. Let's add another blank layer up here. Texture set settings, I think. Layers. Let's just add another layer here. Glass. I should have opacity here. Texture set settings. Oh, there we go. Opacity. There we go. Had to add an opacity channel here. So that's good. So if I go back to layers now, just name this glass. I should be able to change just the opacity here. Yep, there we go. Now I can slide that opacity so it's only shows what I want to see. And of course the glass has been damaged over time, but for the time being we'll just say it's super clean. Yep, so we'll just say that all this is what we're working with. Obviously you probably spend a lot more time on it, so but for the time being we'll say file, export textures. Let's go back down to downloads, 178. Textures, Unreal. Select the folder and export. They are PNGs currently, but that's fine. I just want to make sure that they'll actually work. Yep. And we do have the opacity map emission. Door. Is this right? Engine packed. I might have to look at that a little bit later. Okay, so I do need that, so file. Let's add input maps, mesh maps. Oh, they're good. Oh yeah, I know. Dory was telling about that.
Just a programming issue, so I just sorted it out.
Okay.
So you've got 850 CFMs of 60-degree air coming in. It just might take a little bit of time to feel good.
That's cool.
Just
Yeah.
so you know.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
So opacity here. So we could always do the plus icon, add a new map here, RGB alpha. But yeah, I do want opacity, so I will just use Unreal Engine 4 Packed. This shows my output template. I have opacity grayscale in the base color here. So that's good. I will just go ahead, export that. Make sure that's there. Yep. And let's see. Yep, we got that here. Cool. So with that, I will close that out, go back to Blender. And for my low poly work, probably just put these all back together. Just hide the low poly here. I'll just duplicate this collection here, my low poly, and just name it like a working LP anim. And this I'll probably move that to location. Geometry to origin. No. Move this back over here as well. Cool. Okay, so everything should kind of be ready to match our original concept. So here I will, just move this over to the side a bit. Probably rotate that. It's come like that, and that's good. Select everything, Control A, rotation scale. Now going back to layout and start our simple keys here. I'll make this do a 0, select everything, auto key, I to inset. So we all have like a basic origin for the key. And so from here, 250, I want to do it end at what? 260, 3, 6, 9, 12, like 120. Cool. So 120 here, and we will, I guess, start to move this and make it janky. Copy that key. Goes down there quickly. And this can be kind of simple here. It's like a might move that a bit. Cool. So if I go over here to my graph editor, for something like this, I select all of that. C restrict. I just want to transform in the X direction for the time being. Definitely there. Like a constant. Change this to maybe like a constant as well. Maybe not that much of a constant. So obviously, I mean, you can kind of play with it until it just works for you. But let's say, for the sake of time, that this is perfection. We will take our, animation here, our objects that are selected, File, Export, FBX, and let's just name this to be LP anim. And this is where we start to do something a little bit different than we have been. Let's open this up. So export the door. We want to check that Z forward is up, all local, selected objects, yes. And if we had any kind of bones or armatures, that's where we could also change the direction of that. Animation. Yes, that's right. Effects and enabled. Elections. Export. Yes. Okay. Animation. Go here to Unreal Engine. Let's see, CMIS. Go export. Oh, this must be like a new setup here. Bake animations, import it. Well, that is a lot larger than I thought it'd be, but okay. This one. Maybe it was this one I needed. Yeah, for some reason it wasn't getting that. I felt like I needed to bake the animation here. So I mean, in theory it is playing, but there's just nothing attached to it. Nice. Well, I guess I change it to now you have to bake action. Okay, so start from 120. Visual keying. Okay, animation. Okay. FBX, animation, all action. Force delete those. Animation, import animation, true. I don't need that, or don't need the materials. Import. Okay, but we don't really need about the smoothing groups. Just want to see if this will work here. Already like that. This is acting like a, oh, that's a physical object, right? Like that. So now, that's not animating. To Unreal. Yeah, so did that. Okay, so right click, I mean, should be able to get that action. Armature, leaf bone. Skeletal mesh, import animation. So file, export, the FBX, that should have been it. Okay, so sci-fi door 2. Selected objects. Let's apply transform. All action. Key all bones. Export. Okay, and so if I go over here, do sci-fi door 2, animations. So import animations only. Import animation. This source timeline. Preview here. That's definitely it. So now it's not even showing the other. It's there. So if I modifiers view, I need to change it to actions. timeline. Maybe turn off the auto key in here. I don't want to join everything together. Let's just save as Blender room door. Let's just for the sake of testing, Shift A, add this. Let's go ahead and key it right there. Then that's 120. Move it over there. Back to there, it doesn't matter. Cool. File, export animations. Box, moving. Force delete that. Delete that. Box moving. Should be there. Import. Box moving. Yeah, still just doesn't want to import. That's just a physics asset. That's not going to do that. Yeah, I might have to look into that to re-verify, because that's how I used to be able to export into Unreal Engine. You know, export the animation here, but it might have changed some things since 4.4, or well, in 4.4, and how they changed it. So all actions. So it might have to be baked into that. 20 frames, visual keying. Okay. So we have that. If we go here, like drivers, nonlinear animation. It does show that. It shows a cube action here. Export FBX. Box moving. Animation, all actions. Box moving. Force delete them all. 224. Import animations. Yeah, it's not showing the skeleton here. Okay, so that is imported now. That's a skeleton. Delete that. Box animation. Yes, that is moving. That's the animation sequence. If I unhide this, go to my low poly animation, I see these actions here. Bake actions. Okay. Now export FBX. Let's do like SF door underscore actions. Selected objects, correct. Apply transformations. Animation, yes. All actions, yes. We have all these actions here. And export. Now if I go here, let's just make up a new folder. Door. And find our actions. We don't have a skeletal here, that's okay. Import animations, bone tracks, animation length, source timeline, import. And that this needs to be one. Plane. Skeletal mesh. Pause that. So see the skeleton here, but not the animation itself. That is odd. Okay, let's see what happens if I just kind of just join them together for the sake of it. Duplicate collection. Unhide this. Control J, join to one big mesh. Set the key here, I. Let's go back to timeline. Okay, so all those have been deleted. Okay. 0. I to insert a key. Insert the key here. Then file, export, FBX, door, moving. Export. Force delete those. Import. There must be something wrong with the mesh itself. We'll have to figure that out. But, you know, in the meantime, I guess maybe try to keep things a little more simplified. I try to import your original message that you're working on. Let's see, new, save. So even if you did something simple like this, auto key, press I to insert a keyframe for this guy. Move it down to like 120. Move it over here. Maybe you also want him to move there. So it kind of follows along the track. File, export, FBX, and watch that this will probably work. Test moving cube. Test cube. Animations, yep, check. Unreal Engine, and let's per test cube here. Let's go with the notes. Not really necessary. Yeah, I don't know why all that's there. Okay, drag and drop. Yep, import. And watch it work. Yep, see it works. So I don't know, something with the model I made today that's something's not working with that. I'll have to figure out what that is, and I can try to import it on my own time and see what's going on with it. Possibly once I figure it out, then I can make a video of it and show you how it's done. But until then, you saw how simple it was. In theory, you should just be able to export, well, make the animation of what you're working with, export it, import it into Unreal Engine. It just kind of works. You just have to use the animated sequence here. Now, if you get into more with working with blueprints and working with triggers and colliders and collisions, when a character walks through a collider or trigger, it will just trigger the animation for it. That'd be something that you could potentially do with the blueprints. If I click on this guy, play, I can just kind of see him move around. It also moves my character around as well, a little bit. It has some kind of collision to it. So, yeah, in theory, the animation should work. It's just it wasn't working for some reason. And that's something I'll have to figure out what's going on with that and get back to you all. But, if you all have any kind of difficulties or trouble with that, with doing your own animation, do let me know and send me the files, and I'll try to see what I can do on my end, on my own laptop and computer, and see if I can figure that out. Aside from that, yeah, this is, pretty much show you how it's done. You already saw how to kind of work with this. If you need to work with see-through materials here in Substance Painter, go to shader settings, click on PBR metal roughness with alpha blending. Find that PBR metal rough with alpha blending, and that will be the one to be able to actually have transparency and work with things like glass or any kind of see-through materials. And of course, you can always change some settings here as needed. And then you might have to go to your texture set settings, click on plus for the channels, and add the opacity. I already have it, but it's down here. And when you export, if you're going to export to Unreal Engine, export textures. If you go to output templates and you find Unreal Engine packed, you should see that it has opacity grayscale. That color should match this color over here. This is all on the understanding that you're working with Unreal Engine. If you're working with Unity, it might be a little bit different. So, something like this, you'll see Unity here. A lot of the channels here, they have RGB-A. RGB is red, green, blue, and A is the alpha channel. And that will be what's enabling the opacity inside of materials and game engines like Unreal or Unity, or maybe even Godot if you want to use Godot or Godot, whatever you call it. But yeah, hopefully this kind of sheds some light on how to, well, unsuccessfully or successfully import animations into Unreal Engine. And I'll be sure to see about doing it on my own time and trying to figure out what's going on with that, because in theory everything should have worked. So I'll have to kind of deep dive into that and see what went wrong with that. And sometimes you have to do that as artists, trying to figure out, well, what's going on. Sometimes problem solving might take a little while, unfortunately. I'll just name this to be like sci-fi door. So yeah, with that, let's go over content here. Let's see. So for this one, we have, like I said, final project. Final project update 1 is due tonight. And just kind of, just reiterating that we have a small diorama. If you are in 177, you can use some of the materials and some of your objects that you created and put that in to fill up a scene. If it's a scene, maybe you need to change it up. If you do, it'd be good to model everything, but you don't have to model everything. If you use other assets to put together, just make sure it's all coherent and kind of fits with your overall scene. So that means you need to download an asset pack online. You can potentially do that, but just make sure everything fits together and has all the requirements. And if you do something like doing all the assets, it'd be good to at least model something that fits with that assets pack. So hopefully that'll kind of encourage you all to be able to work with the final project. And also, of course, export and showcase the scene in Unity or Unreal Engine. So, like what we did here, maybe instead of trying to, I'm thinking that one of the biggest issues I had with this is I need to probably export them separately. So instead of exporting everything as one big scene, I probably should have just exported or keep the door separate and export the door separately. So maybe export your animated model by itself, and then kind of export anything that's static or stationary as needed or into the Unreal Engine, and just kind of fill up the scene. Even like this thing right here, how it's all filled up with different things. You can start to export your models in here, add the materials to it, and populate the scene. If you do use Substance Painter, I think there is a plugin for it here in Unreal Engine that it could make it a little bit easier for you as well. But you have to download that, I think. Substance Unreal plugin. Here we go. It's also free, so that is nicer. But you can also tweak any kind of substance parameters in Unreal Engine in real time. So that might be something you want to check out. And I think it's on Fab, yeah, Fab right here. It seems to have a mixed rating, so I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it won't be the best, but it might be another way to import assets and work with Substance inside Unreal Engine. But with that should be it. I have all the quizzes available, of course, assignments available, and update 1 is available. I will make update 2, so that'll be available and due next week, the 8th. I think that should be it. So if you want to continue working here till 3, that's great. If not, hope you have a good day and enjoy the heat outside. And I will upload everything here to YouTube and the on the Blackboard as well. So you all will have that. And I will shut this.